All right, hi. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me down below, Mr. Dap Scout. What's going on, man?
Hey, Joe, how's it going, man? I am so excited about doing these sleepers and bust series. I know we're starting off this with the sleepers, but I am so excited to do this with you. So, whenever you want to get rolling, sir.
Yeah. So as Dap alluded to here, we are going to be doing sleepers and busts. This episode, though, is our 2024 sleepers for hitters. So we're both going to give two each. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, leave those comments. We appreciate it. And jump over to fantasy6pack.net, become an all access member. You're going to get access to our award winning rankings, our projections, all the DFS advice that we have, and our draft cheat sheet. And of course, access directly to us over on our Discord, where you can ask all of your custom league questions. So let's jump into things here. And Dab, we will start with you. Your number one sleeper is Mr. Tim Anderson. What do
Yeah,
you have to
so
say?
I am going to just first off do this. It took a lot for me to actually do this. From a statistical perspective, absolutely, Tim Anderson makes sense. But from just the abomination of the 2023 season, it was hard to pick Tim Anderson. I mean, he was the villain of basically every story possible. We all remember him not doing well after getting punched in the face. And
Well,
there's just
before.
yeah, and just a whole bunch more things, right? Also, the thing that happens when he gets punched in the face and that video gets played over and over again is that we forget some of the other things that occurred. He got an injury to his front leg April 10th during a rundown at Target Field. What that does, especially to a hitter like Tim Anderson, is it messes up your timing, messes up being able to just kind of not think about your legs and think about instead the ball. And if you look at his new battery mate, Luis Arez, he was able to put up, Luis Arez doing, just an amazing batting average, right? And I say this because that's going to be your leadoff hitter. Tim Anderson has a whole new, scene. He's going to be in Miami now. And he was turning down offers from the Dodgers, from a whole bunch of other clubs that really wanted him. And I think he honestly is just turned into a bit of a, I don't want to put this too negatively, but I mean, what else? He turned into a head case. He was thinking so much about the negativity in the clubhouse. He was thinking so much about all these things, and he was able to pick where he wanted to be in Miami. And so going back to the batting average, he had 300 above average seasons for the last 4 years, except for 2023. In 2023, he was at 245 as we show here, but he was at 301, 309 the year before, 322, 335. I think there's just so much potential there for a late round hitter who's just, I mean, he is not anywhere near where he needs to be being drafted. So when you're talking about somebody who can give you, a 300 plus average floor in the last 200, past pick 200, plus maybe possibly giving you 8 to 10 home runs, but I'm going to be really impressed by the runs. He's going to be scoring a bunch of runs in that Marlins lineup. And again, with a pretty solid batting average, I think you're looking at, when you look at late round sleepers, to me, I'm looking for 2 or 3 category contributors. You're not getting 5 category contributors with the sleeper. I mean, you hope, but if I can get 2 or 3 solid categories, that's my guy. And Tim Anderson's my guy here. All right, Joe, who's your pick, your first one out? And hopefully he can take a punch.
Yeah, so mine is going to be hometown Ryan
Of
Mountcastle
course.
here, and not playing the homer card here. But look, guys going around like 245 in drafts, and last year wasn't quite what we hoped. He did deal with injuries. Only that, we've seen his home run, his power kind of drop the last couple of years. What I do like though is that this offense for the Orioles is only getting better and better, right? And he's still in it. He's sliding over as like primary DH. But that's fine. We don't really care about that for fantasy, right? Like just hit the ball, right? He's seen his batting average climb, and so we've seen like progressions here, right? So you're looking at 2021 here where he had a 255 and then it dropped to 250. And then last year it went to 270. What I'm talking about progressions, though, is if you look at his expecting batting average in 221 was 245. In 2022, his expected went up to 277, but it actually didn't the batting average didn't actually follow. Last year, the expected was right around the same, 272, but the actual followed it. So that's a good sign, right? You like to see that. So he's making better contact, like more contact that's going to get him on base more. I think the power is still there. I don't think it went away. We're seeing, he was still like, looking at his baseball savant page. He was top 6% of the league in max exit velocity. His average is like 91.4, nothing to sneeze at. He's not like top 10, but that's a very good the one thing that sort of gets you is like his launch angle dropped, and of course we all know Camden Yards changed the dimensions, so that's going to zap power just slightly. But still, in 115 games, 470 plate appearances, he still hit 18 bombs. You give him a full season, he's probably right there in like the 25 plus range. Man, I'll take that. Late round, decent average, decent power. He's going to get RBI because he's going to bat like 6th, 7th in that lineup. And there's going to be a ton of guys on base for the Orioles. I'm just baffled at why his ADP is so low.
So Joe's taking it personal, everybody. I just want to be sure.
So we'll move on. Who's your number 2?
Number 2. So this is, there's a scientific aspect to this and a non-scientific aspect to it. What was the tiebreaker versus some of the other sleepers I was looking at is I look back at my notes for the last couple of years on somebody who we were looking at drafting, but always ended up being one of the first or second kind of weak picks that we wanted to do on waiver wires. And the person who shows up constantly on my notes when I look back at the last couple of seasons is Max Kepler. Max Kepler, let's be honest, right? He's not going to play a full season, so you're not buying him for that. But it's just not going to happen.
I love how projections. I'm not going to lie here. Like the projections right now have him for more plate appearances this year than he's had in any of the last 3 seasons. So like the projections across the board are all the same, but it's like, how do you project that? I don't know. Whatever.
If you want to be one of the top rankers right now with projections, I'll give you a hint. Max Kepler is not going to hit 500 plate appearances. So there you go. Big, huge hint there. I'm pulling the Band-Aid off. But so the Commish Film Room, the Commish on Twitter, had a really great stat about Max Kepler. So you can kind of say this, right? So currently he's being drafted as a 57th outfielder on ESPN. That's ADP about 254. In 2023, only 7 players with a minimum of 350 plate appearances had 10% plus barrel rate and 88% contact rate on pitches in the strike zone, otherwise known as Z contact percentage. So names in there are Yordan Alvarez, Corey Seager, Soto, Betts, Freeman, Tucker, and our man Max Kepler. So he's making quality contact when he does make contact. He's gonna play when he can play. Again, for the 57th outfielder being picked, Max Kepler to me is just an absolute no-brainer. He's not going to give you, again, going back to what I was telling you earlier, right? If I can get somebody to give me multiple categories, so he's not going to give you stolen bases. His batting average isn't terrible and looks like obviously you use some definite gains there as well. But I'm going to be getting 20 plus home runs with 60 plus RBIs. And if I can get 60 plus runs scored, and again, a batting average is not going to kill me. If I'm in an OBP league, I'm all over Max Kepler. Again, this sounds like a very average to above average outfielder, which is what you're wanting, or hitter, which is what you're wanting here in the late rounds.
Especially in those like 5 outfield leagues. Kepler is a no-brainer. I have him almost every year. So yeah. Or
even do it one better, right? 4 outfielders, but with those 2 utilities, right? Again, Max Kepler. So don't just solidify yourself there with with anybody that just requires just 5 outfielders, right? If you have multiple utility, especially the last season, if you saw with all the injuries, Max Kepler's your guy. Grab him now before waiver wire week 1 or week 2, where everybody goes after him.
Absolutely.
All right, Joe, who's your second pick?
All right, so I'm going to one that I think would probably surprise a lot of people, considering how the bad taste left in the mouth for everybody. Jose Abreu. So I didn't put his projections on the board here. I broke down him by month for a reason. we all know, like, he was drafted as what, a top 7 first baseman last year. He moves over to Houston. Yeah, man, this is gonna be awesome. Abreu's gonna smash. Ooh. Yeah, through the first 2 months, 1 home run, and I believe that home run in May came super late. Um, 20 RBI, batting average around 200 total. It was like, oh man, Abreu has gotten old and gotten old fast. Uh-oh. What happened? June, July, much better. Seeing a little bit of uptick. Okay, he's usable, right? Still not great.
Right.
August was a bad month for him. Got hurt, but September, man, September was great. 7 more bombs. All in all in the season, by the way, for those not counting this at home, 18 home runs, considering he only hit 1 through the first 2 months and then had a hurt month where he only hit 1 again. Still 18 bombs, 90 RBI. You're telling me I can get a guy with pick like 270 that's going to hit 90 RBI?
Yep.
I'm all in, man. Like, look, the batting average may drop. He hit 237 on the season as a whole. His expected wasn't good, but I mean, that miserable start clearly wasn't helping things. He was much better in the second half, minus August. I still think we're probably looking at like a 250, 260 hitter, maybe slightly better, if things kind of click a little more for him. He's still going to be batting in the meat of that Houston lineup. So RBI is plentiful there for him. I think he got over that, like, these hitters that go in these big slumps like that. And, you start hearing chirping from the crowd and the media and pressure, right? I mean, these guys are human. We forget that. You said that last night on the, a couple nights ago on the Face 6-Pack Hour, man. We forget these guys are human, right? Like, and so you hear that they start to feel the pressure of, I'm not hitting home runs. Well, he finally got one. Then they started coming, man. They came in bunches like we expect. I would not be surprised at the end of next season we see a 25 plus home run season from Abreu, and he jumps back in to top 10, top 12 first base territory for me. I'm not drafting him there because you definitely do not need to. But if he's sitting there at the end of drafts for me, I'm picking up all the shares of Jose Abreu. And you know what? If he comes out cold again, easy cut. No big deal. But I think we're going to be very happy with what we get from Jose Abreu this season. All right.
And if you're in an OBP league, just real quick, if you're in an OBP league, right, almost a 300 OBP, but before that, 378, 351, this is somebody who you definitely could deal with the cold spells because he's still getting on base. But yeah,
typically. Last year, not so great. But again, last year, I'm just chalking that one up to, like, I know he's older, so like you're not going to expect, 30, those near MVP seasons he had with, Chicago, but he's going to be better than he was last year. I just, no doubt about it. So, all right, that is it for our hitters, sleepers, whatever I want to say there. Who knows? Edition of the hitters edition of our 2024 fantasy baseball sleepers videos. Sure. Should have rehearsed that before this, but that's all good.
2024 Sleepers Hitters Edition. Thank you.
Sure. All right. I wish I could edit that out, but I'm not going to. It's all fun.
It's all fun.
Anyway, keep a lookout for our pitchers, and then we'll be covering our busts as well. See you all later. We out.